Okay, hello YouTube. Today we're diving into a Premier draft for Ravnica Allegiance, a set that is returning to Arena for just a short time. It's my third draft of the format this go around. I drafted it quite a bit, both in paper, back in the day when that was still a thing, but also online. Back then it was bot drafting, so the format was quite a bit different. Certain decks that you could force against the bots, like the Gates decks, and yeah, what were the stronger archetypes back then? There were certain archetypes you could just force, and it was really strong. Okay, first pack. Let me quickly switch to my other overlay. That way I'm not in front of the cards. Not a strong rare. Best uncommon. I think it's Azorius Skyguard. -1, -0 for opponent's creatures is pretty strong. I think I'm on Azorius Skyguard here, and we'll start the draft off with a nice Azorius card. There's also a Syndicate Messenger, which I'm eyeing a bit. It's quite a good card. And those are basically the options. But I think I'll start with the Skyguard, and I'll see what comes my way. If I don't belong in Azorius, we'll figure that out sooner than later. But, I think a Flying First Strike 3/3 that also debuffs the opponent's creatures is pretty strong. Awaken the Erstwhile, that's also not a great card. Other commons here, Smeltward Ignis and Wayfinder. Not great. In Azorius colors there's a Summary Judgment. 3 damage to tapped creatures, 5 damage instead if you do it in your main phase. And there's also a Night Arbiter here. There's also Grotesque Demise, so I think it's between Grotesque Demise or the two cards that I mentioned earlier. I think out of those cards, Grotesque Demise is just the best card. But it doesn't really go with Azorius Skyguard, so I might pick up Summary Judgment here. The pick is close, and I think I'd rather have the on-color card than the Grotesque Demise here. So we'll pick up the Judgment here, just to stay in the Azorius color pair for now. Don't feel that Grotesque Demise over Summary is strong enough to move out of my colors already. Ooh, only Azorius card here is the Locket and the Gate basically. There's also a Sage Row. Uncommon there's still a Bankrupt in Blood and a Clear the Stage, and also a Clan Guild Mage. None of those cards are bad. Cards are not great though. There's nothing like really good here. So I think I'll pick up the Gate. It's never too soon to pick up Gates actually. I think Azorius Guild Gate here is a fine pickup. The sooner you pick up Gates, the easier you can play 3 colors, and the better that the Gate payoffs get. I think I'll pick up the Azorius Guild Gate here. Ooh, the Swings of the New Prof is a really strong card in itself, but getting it when you're already pretty in Azorius is really sweet. There's also a Blade Juggler here, which is just a sick card overall. I think when I compare the Blade Juggler to the Swings, I think the Blade Juggler is actually a not better. But I think the Swings being on color and being a nice reward for being Azorius is great. I think I'll pick the Swings and be very happy about it. We'll see what else comes my way. Savage Smash is quite a good card, and there's also still a Sunder Shaman here. So Gruul looks a bit opened from the right as well. So yeah, good Gruul cards and a good Rakdos slash what's the Black-White guild called again? Ooh, a very late Grotesque Demise. Eyes everywhere. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Change control of it. Activate ability only. I think the flames is the best card here. Ice everywhere is not bad, but I think I'd rather have the grotesque demise. I think it's the grotesque demise here. I don't mind playing Esper that much in this format. I think if you're playing a 3-color pair, then Esper is quite good. I don't like Ice everywhere that much. I think I'll pick up the grotesque demise and see where we go from here. The gate goes pretty nicely. It helps me splash the grotesque demise. It helps me play Esper. Exposed to Daylight is definitely a card that you can main deck here, but I don't like it that much. Fish is a decent card, but I can pick up cards of those of that power lever later on, I feel. But I think it's either Locket or the Guildgate, and I think I'll go for the Guildgate here. Ooh, quite some nice white cards here. Look at the top 4 cards. If you have one of them into your hands, rest on the bottom. So Shimmer is not a bad card, but I think I'll go for one of the white cards here. Rester's Seal is definitely not a bad combat trick, but I think I'm on the Pegasus here. It's just a nice 2-drop. My deck is lacking 2 drops. It's a nice blocker. It's a 1/3. It can get in for damage from time to time. So I think overall I'm from Pegasus. Panther is also not a bad card. 1 black to give it that touch. Prevents a lot of opponents from attacking. So taking the Pegasus here. Another Pegasus, which is sweet. Watchful Giant is not really a playable card, I feel. Positioned Petitioners is a fun joke, but I don't think it can get there in draft actually. Well, Sign the Pit is a very expensive removal spell, so I'd rather not take. So I think I'll take the Pegasus here and be happy about it. So then the wheel. So this is the pack that I opened. There was the Post Deploy in this pack, which is unfortunately gone. There's also a Fair Duelist. There was the Flying White 2/3. So there was a Horse of Guildgate. So quite some cards in my Gollers are gone from this pack. I think for me it's between the Expose the Daylight as a nice one-off, but I think the Rose Savant is a great pickup here. It's a nice 2-drop. When it enters the battlefield, it scries 2, which is rather valuable. Civic Stalwart. I honestly don't think I ever played that card. It's not that good. And the same goes for Debtors. This wasn't a great pack. There was a Night Arbiter in this pack though. There was also a Grotesque Demise and a Plague White. So again, quite some Esper cards missing from this deck and quite some Gruul cards still left in it. I'll go for the Transport, but I assume I'm not playing it. Again, Savant, not a bad 2-drop, so happy to pick that up here. I'm not a big fan of Gateway Plaza. The fact that you have to pay 1 to when it enters, and it also enters tapped, so it basically costs you 2 mana. I don't like that at all. Core Commando, 3 mana, 3/2, not a great card. Simic Locket, not really the Locket that I'm looking for. None of these cards are great, but I'll pick up the Simic Locket and put it in the sideboard. Hey, Ice Everywhere Wield. I don't think it's that bad of a card, so I might play it. I mean, 3 mana to make me scry a couple of times, and then 6 mana to exchange control of Ice of Everywhere and target non-permanent. That's pretty sweet, but I don't think I'm playing it though. Nothing here that excites me. Shimmer might be a card that I play, but for now I'll put it in the side. Ooh, another Awaken of the Erstwhile. That's not very good. There's a Carnival Carnage. There's a Gate Colossus, which might be the pick here. There's also an Ors of Guildgate. I would like that to wheel, of course. There's also a Blade Juggler. Can see Blade Juggler be the pick, but I feel that black is going to be more of a splash, and I'll try to stick Azorius. I think Gate Guild goes fine in that. It would be nice to pick up some more. I think if I pick Gate Colossus here, I'm going to value Orzhov and Azorius Guild Gates a bit higher from now on. I think that's going to be the play here. Yeah, so Gate Colossus, and then hope to get a few more gates. Sky Tether, Defender and loses Flying. And raise a Forerunner in this pack. It's pretty sweet. I think I'm on Sky Tether here. I also don't mind an Orator actually. It's between Orator and the Sky Tether. I'll pick up the Sky Tether for now. Vindicate Vampire, not a great card, but it's okay. In blue and white there's a Twilight Panther and a Senate Courier. I think I'm on Vampire here. It's not the best card in the world. I think I'll pick the Gate here. It makes my my Esper deck a bit more consistent, and it also helps with the Gate Colossus. So it's clear that I'm not in the right color pair. I mean, seeing the Shark the Crab here so late is quite nuts. Ooh, Archway Angel is a very sweet pickup. There's also a Sphinx inside here, but I was taking Gates pretty highly anyway because of the Colossus, and I think Angel gives me another reason to pick Gates highly. So I'll pick up the Angel here, and basically pick every Gate that I see from now on. Arrestor's Admiration, Admonition, I must say. Quite a good card, but as I said, I'm valuing Gates very highly now due to the Colossus and the Angel. So I got 3 Orzhov Guild Gates by now, so that makes black an actual splash color. So I'm going to splash it. Here's the 4th. So basically that's 4 black sources, so that would already be enough to play the Vampire and the Demise in my eyes. There's also an Orzhov Locket here, which I might pick up to add another like blue source kind of deal. There's also an Arrestor's Admission. Might pick up the Arrestor's Admission here. I think that's the best card in the pack. Okay, so this is the wheel. Twilight Panther still being here is pretty sweet. It'll be a nice dead touch blocker. Plague White, quite a good card I think, but more an aggressive deck, which I am not, because Plague White wants to attack. It's very hard to block. But I'm more of a blocker than an attacker, I think, this draft. Draw 4 cards, then discard 2. Not a bad card, but I think I'm on Slimebind. Shant creature gets -4, -0. It's a fine pickup. So is the second Twilight Panther. Ooh, there's a Clear the Mind here and a Sage Rose Savant. Close. I'll pick up the 2-drop. Now I'll pick up the Clear the Mind. Pick the rare for the gems. And pick the scavengers for the board. So going into pack 3, we're basically Esper. I still would like to lean Azorius, but given the 4 guild gates, it's not really a necessity right now. Curve. I have an empty 3 slot. Basically, quite some heavy top end already. Racketeers, not a bad card. Neither is Gutter Bones. I think I'm on Racketeers here. Sure. Maybe I'm on the Senate Griffin. It's easier to cast. It's a 4-drop. I think the Afterlife too is sweet. Pick up the Griffin. Ooh, hello. Sphinx is nice, and Night Arbiter is nice. I think I'm on Night Arbiter. But I definitely wouldn't mind the Sphinx Insights here. I think I'll go for the Sphinx Insights. Not sure. Not sure. 4 mana, gain 2, draw 2. Come on, the Sphinx Insight here. Another Senate Griffin is a nice pickup, but of course Chillbringer is better. And I think I also would have picked Blade Juggler over Senate Griffin here, but I think I'll be on I'll be very happy to pick up my first Chillbringer this late in the draft. Ooh, an Azorius Guildgate. I think I'm taking that. Not only does it make my mana base better, but it also helps with the Colossus and the Angel. I wouldn't mind Swirling Torrent, to be honest. I think it's quite a fine card, but I'll pick up the gate. As I mentioned, I'm going to value the gates very highly, given the fact that I have both the Colossus and the Angel. So that's why. Code of Constraint, not a bad card. Skitter Eel is also an option. There's also a Satro Savant. I think I'm on a Code of Constraint. 3 mana, draw a card is always good, and prevent some damage is also nice. I think it's Senate Guildmage here. Could be Azorius Looker, but I think the Senate Guildmage is quite good. White tap, gain 2 lives, pretty strong. And blue for loot is also not bad, especially if you flood out in the late game. And also another 2-drop is a nice thing to have. Another Sphinx Insights, I think that's an easy Slammer the Bammer here over the Skitter Eel. I'm not very big on Skitter Eel. I'd rather have the second Sphinx Insight. Currently we're on 30 cards, of which 6 are lands, so I already have to make a cut. I think Passionate Ordiner is also a card that's likely to make my deck. Another gate, very sweet. Not really splashing black, like Twilight Panther is a bit of a black card. I might play Vampire, not even sure if I'm playing Vampire. And then there's the Grotesque Demise. I think I'm just playing the gates for playing the gates. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, scry 1. Not sure that I'm playing that actually. Here I'm picking up the Arrestor Shield, I think. Could also be Clear the Might. Don't think I'm playing 2. I think playing 1 is fine. 2/5 Hexproof is definitely not bad. Put our creature on top of its owner's library. Turn our creature to its owner's hand. I'll take it, but I don't think I'm playing it. Already have an exposure to daylight in the side, so I'll click the portal. Click the volley and pick the brush rider. Okay. Definitely not the best Esper deck in the world. I think Azorius was not open this draft. I was definitely not the only Azorius drafter. I saw several of the 2/5 Knights, for example, that didn't came back to me. So yeah, I was sad. Definitely at the start of the draft there was opportunity to, for example, be Gruul. I think I saw some pretty strong Gruul cards going pretty late. But at that point I felt I already closed off those lanes. I'm not sure. I think I have to rewatch the draft to be certain. So I definitely don't need a swamp here. I can probably, so I got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 white sources and 9 blue sources. Think I'll take another plains. So 5, 6, 7, 14, 15, 16. So I'll add a plains. Make it 17 lands. Definitely playing the Colossus and the Angel. I mean, that's the whole idea of why I'm playing all the gates. Azorius Skyguard is just a bonkers card. So is Chillbringer. Oh. Funny. I did something there that that undid the split. I might be cutting Vampire. I'm not really losing creatures. I think I'll get rid of Vampire, and that leaves me with quite a nice set of 2-drops. 2 Panthers to give that touch to block some of the ground creatures. Some nice top end, both in the form of flyers. Yeah, so 4 flyers top end basically, and a Colossus. Slime Bite, a Tether, a Judgment. Bounce in the way of Code of Constraint and Admonition. A Demise. Sphinx's Insight. Yeah, I think I like this. Splashing Demise with 5 sources, so that's an easy splash. Yeah, I think this is it. Running 1 white source more than I'm running blue sources, but I think that's fine. I think the split in 7 islets to Azorius Guild Gates gives me enough blue sources to go with. Yeah, let's go. Let's dive in the game and see how the deck does. Switch the overlay. Okay, so we get the Panther on 1, we get the Admonition on 3, which is fine, and then an Insight on 4, and then that way I can move into my my top end. So, yeah, fine hand. Currently not able to give the Panther that touch, but with 5 black sources, I'm expecting to find one at some point in time. We're also just a lot of 1 toughness creatures in the set, so Twilight Panther is a fine blocker, even if I don't find the blue source. Ooh, that's a very nice 4-drop. This is an instant speed card, so I can simply bounce whatever my opponent plays on turn 3. Draw a card and then move into the Sphinx. Yeah, so I'm bouncing that just to be mana efficient. Play the land, attack for 1, and then play the Sphinx and pressure my opponent that way. Spell costs 2 more to cast if it targets the prof, so it's quite a hard card to quite a tough card to get rid of. So I'm playing the Sphinx. Doesn't really matter. Oh, I probably should not have played the land. Maybe if I draw a black source or a tap land here, I should have done that. Gets Defender, loses flying. I don't really need that. I'm just attacking with the 4-3 here. I could also attack with the 1-2. Yeah, attacking with the 1-2 is fine, I think, here. Opponent probably blocking the Panther, which is fine, and then taking for the Prof. There's something to say about maybe not attacking with the Panther, which could incentivize opponent to chimp block with the Courier. But, I don't believe that was important here. So Azorius Night Arp, Bitter, definitely a nice card to Sky Tether at some point in time, but for now, just resolving the Sky Guard, I think. And attacking with the 4-3. Here there's no real reason to attack with the Panther. It just gets chumped. No value to be gained. Okay, opponent going down to a dangerous 9. Oh, opponent has an Azorius Skyguard of themselves. That is a first strike creature, right? Yeah. Let's see. So flying vigilance means that it bounces off the courier, and Skyguard just bounces off of Skyguard. So currently I don't really have any good attacks. Could Sky Tether the courier. That way I can get in with at least one of those and keep the pressure up. I think that's the play. I think I'll go 2-drop, 2-drop, Sky Tether probably. So 2-drop, 2-drop to Scry 2. Hopefully I can put some lands to the bottom. Yep, and I'll leave the Guildmage on top. Play the Sky Tether on the courier, giving it defender, but most importantly removing the flying. Then I'll attack with the Prav and the Skyguard. Opponent blocks and takes 3, goes down to 6. So applying quite some pressure. I think the first of us who's able to remove the Skyguard from the other player is quite ahead. I think that's quite an important yeah, so there goes the there goes a binding, can attack or block. And the judgment, yeah, so that was definitely a very sweet turn for opponent. Yeah, so clear the mind. Not an so I'll shuffle 3 important spells in the graveyard. I'll get a Guild Mage or a Pegasus, and I think I'm going to play the Guild Mage. I could play the Pegasus definitely. That might. Oh, but it gets -1, -0 anyway. Yeah, so I got my opponent pretty low, but unfortunately I don't have any pressure anymore. All my creatures have 1 power. My Sphinx is binding, so basically there's nothing really to do for me here anymore. Luckily I'm on 21, so I won't die soonish. Let me see. Don't have any attacks here. This is an instant. I think I can just use this. Probably on the Skyguard. Then just draw a card. Okay. I think I wanted to keep up a white there, so I'm basically losing 2 life now because I didn't keep up a white. I should have kept an eye on auto tapper there. I don't like the blue tap. I wanted to do the white tap, and Arena decided otherwise, and should have been more careful there. Might get me. Getting a judgment here is sweet. It'll kill the Skyguard, which will give me attacks, so that's nice. So summary judgment on the Skyguard. Hopefully that resolves. Opponent might have a counter spell up. Yeah. Oh, they're returning it to hand. Sure. They're not drawing a card of that, so that's nice. But they are keeping their flyer. Can now deal 1 damage with the Concordia Pegasus. Not the best. I'll scry 2. Yeah, so 1 damage here, so opponent going down to 5. Ooh, this is interesting. I think I wanted the mice, but I don't want the panther. And I'm really hoping to pick up one of my black sources soonish. Both to make my panther that's on board better, but also being able to play the demise on the flyer. Yeah, so getting in with the Pegasus for 1 here doesn't feel great. But, well, it's 1 damage. Opponent being able to draw 2 cards here, so yeah, opponent definitely in the driver's seat. Not only having 2/5s with vigilance that deal 4 to me every turn, but also just having the card advantage, having a great card in hand in the form of the Skyguard. So yeah, even though the life totals do not suggest it, I feel that I'm behind here. Opponent leaving 2 blue up on purpose, it seems here. Might suggest counter spell that puts a +1/+1 counter on a creature. I think I'll gain 2 life here. Pick up the mice. I have no attacks here. So I'll end the turn. It amazes me that the opponent is not attacking with the Skyguard actually. Not sure what we are afraid of here, but we are afraid of something. Okay. Can be activated, so I'll quickly gain 2 life before that happens. So remember that I missed 2 life with the Guild Mage earlier. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers. I'm definitely going to bounce this to hand. Like I need to sneak in 5 damage at some point, right? There's my black source at least. 1, 2, 3. So this is getting in anyhow, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Opponent has 3 blockers. I would lose 3 creatures and I would get in for 1 extra damage. I don't think that's worth. So I'll get in with the Pegasus, deal 1, put opponent down to 4. Then I'll see from there. Yeah, so opponent playing Azorius, and you see the Night Arbiters, you see the Lawmage Bindings, cards that my deck is missing. I didn't check my pot very carefully, but opponent might actually have been in my pot. Could be. Okay. So probably do this. Opponent might bounce it to hand again. No, we actually exiled it. The opponent is on 4, so again I can attack with I can deal 2 damage and lose 3 creatures, or I can just deal 1. So again I will be just dealing 1. The 2 damage might turn out to actually matter here, which is pretty sad. Yeah, so opponent just staying on 4 this way. Zoria's Night Arbiter, just a very tough card for me to beat in this scenario. Swings inside for the reload, gain 2. Honestly think this game is over. That makes them deal 5, right? So yeah, this game is over. GG opponent. Do I want to change something in my deck? I think I underestimated the importance of enchantments and artifacts in this format. And the artifact enchantment removal card that I have might be just worth to put in my deck. Supposed to daylight 3 mana instant, destroy artifact or enchantment, scry 1. I think that's actually a card that I want in main deck. Wondering what I'm going to take out. I think I'm taking out Slimebind. Like that much. Either Slimebind or Sky Tether. But I feel Slimebind is I think Sky Tether is a pretty decent card in a deck that wants to win through the air. I think my deck, one of the end games that I have in mind is definitely winning through the air. So Sky Tether, a nice card in that sense. This is a fine hand. Probably open with the Savant just to get the Scry 2 off and to polish my draws even more. So my curve is already pretty neat. But I think opening with a Savant. Island made me less interested into opening with Savant, because now I don't really know what I want. I think I'd rather play the Guild Mage and then see from there. I think this is just exposed to daylight time. I think trading a 3-drop for 3-drop is just worth. I also destroy opponent's ramp. I destroy the... I think this is just worth. I mean, what else? What other options do I have? I can also play my Citra Savant, but I think I get behind then. So I think I'll expose to daylight the Locket. I'll take the Scry while I can. I'll bottom the island. Don't need another land right now. At least not an island. I wouldn't mind the Guild Gate at some point. And a black source for my demises. Okay, Ice Everywhere is an interesting card. I have one in my pool myself. So it's 6 mana to exchange control, but then I can pay 6 myself, and then regain control, right? So I don't like it in that sense. I think this is an attack, and then just Savant. I think I'll just Savant. Don't really need to clear the mind right now, right? I think drawing Clear the Mind as the last card in your deck is a fine way of winning a game. So I think scrying Clear the Mind to the bottom is a clear choice. And I think Swings is just a very nice card. This leaves me 2 mana for Summary Judgment, which is not very useful. An opponent is not tapping a creature anytime soon. Skitter Eel, sure. So I'll play the Sphinx's Insight. No land to play, which is unfortunate. Don't have any attacks. So we got 2 Guildgate payoffs, but we haven't drawn many of our guild gains yet. As a reminder, I have a total of 7 guild gates, so 7 of my 17 lands are actually guild gates. This is unfortunate. Not really though. I mean, it's exactly 5, which makes Judgment exactly kill it. So that's very sweet. I think I'm going to play Pegasus Judgment. So I think I'll open with Judgment to kill the eel. Let's see if opponent has a response. Opponent might have a response. I wouldn't mind that much. Yeah, exile target creature you control. Okay, sure, that is fine. So that makes attacking there a mistake, right? Because now not attacking there a mistake because I could have dealt 4 damage and now I didn't. So that's definitely a mistake. Missing out on 4 damage there is pretty big. Opponent should have been on 12 right now. Not being able to attack there is savage. Opponent probably pumping the Skitter Eel again. Ooh, hero. At the end of turn, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, we're making a Topter. Look at the top 10 cards of your library. We can't adapt currently, so basically opponent is offering the trade, or opponent has a spell in hand for 2, right? I think I'll take the trade here for any one of my 2-drops, and if opponent has a spell, well then at least I'll trade Okay, that's unfortunate. But at the same time, I only lost one creature there. Let me see. At the end of turn, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on. I think it is just correct to tap the duelist here and then double attack the Dovin. Yeah, I think that's the correct play to make here. So Code of Constraint this, I'll tap it, I'll draw a card. Not drawing a land there is pretty unfortunate. But I don't think it is unfortunate enough to I think I'll play the Panther here. With this hand I just wouldn't mind drawing lands, right? I mean I would like to draw lands to get to play the Angel and the Colossus at some point in time. I would like to draw lands to get a black source on the board for the Panther Death Touch. Like, quite some... Ooh, Harrow. For swings, sweet. +1, so if the eel now hits me... Put a loyalty counter on Dovin. Oh, that's it, right? It's just a loyalty counter. Sure. Can get a loyalty counter. So I can make this a defender. I think that's pretty valuable to do. If this is a defender, a 4/4 defender, I can attack with the Pegasus to deal one here. Okay, I can still loot here for 1 blue, but I just don't see the value in that right now because I don't really have cards in hand that I want to loot away. I think I'll play the Griffin and pass and keep the gate on top. I was going to say I'm going to scry everything away that's not a land basically. Because I need to get towards the Angel and the Colossus. I can't attack here. Like even if I attack with all, opponent could block the 2/2 and Dovin would still live. Like my opponent being to scry here constantly is pretty strong, right? So eyes everywhere is just strong in that sense. It also I also have to watch that it doesn't get control of the Colossus at some point. Yeah, opponent is going to threaten my life total now, and that's totally fair. Let's see. If opponent attacks with a 4/4, I'm going to double block that for sure with the Pegasus and the Griffin. Happy to trade that way, and I'll give Dovin. Yeah, so I honestly hope opponent has no tricks here, because if there's another trick, then game is slowly getting out of hand. So Dovin on 5 right now. If opponent passes, that would be great. Opponent does not pass. Opponent plays another creature. Let's see. I knew that Guildgate was coming. I think I have to Sky Tether the Skitter Eel. And now I basically don't have any attacks, right? I need to kill that Dovin at some point. -7 is pretty strong. Basically it says draw 3. It's kind of strong. And also just making a top throw each turn and gaining 1 life will okay. That is not what I expected. Definitely not what I expected. Interesting. I'll gain 2 life. Do I want a land? 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I do. I think I just play the Colossus here. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's just a play. Can be blocked, so currently it just attacks, kills the Arbiter basically. If opponent has no answer to the Colossus, I'll be able to kill the Arbiter next time. Okay, we have an answer. We have a Law Mage Binding, which is unfortunate. Gives the opponent another uptick with Dovin, or another downtick. Distant Petitioner. Target player mills a card, tap 4 and tap the advisor, mills 3. Okay, it's not a great card, but don't think it does a lot right now, as long as opponent does not mill my last card. Sure, I'll take the swings. Now the question becomes, do I want a Dovin? But I don't think I want that. Like, I can pay 6, get a top tier of my own. Like, tick it down, get a top tier of my own, basically. But I think I'd rather save that for later. I think I'll play the Swings of Newpra right now. Could also see myself playing the Archangel. But I'm nowhere close to having my 7 gates that I actually have in this deck on board, right? This can gain me 14 life. It only gains me 4 right now. It feels so mana inefficient to do this. Like, the good thing here is that opponent doesn't really have attacks right now. I think I'm keeping the eyes everywhere. I think my opponent giving me the eyes everywhere in exchange for the Impassioned Orator is just mind-blowing and basically the only reason I'm still in this game. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield, you may from your graveyard on top of your library. So the problem is that it's currently not in my graveyard, right? If there's a way for me to get my Gate Colossus into the graveyard, that would actually be pretty good. Okay, so Dovin is on 2 right now. Opponent definitely has attacks here. I should probably attack. Seems to be willing to right now. I'm definitely going to play the Angel. I think if I have a land on top, I'm going to scry to the bottom. Only reason I would keep a land... Ooh, Pegasus probably also bottom. Like, what is there in my deck that I actually want right now? Yeah, so Arister's Admonition would be pretty sweet because I can bounce my big dude. Posted Daylight, Senate Guild Mate. Oh, wait, it shows your... Oh, fix the setting. Sphinx's Insight would be a nice card. Azorius Skyguard would be a sick card. I think I'm bottoming here. I think Pegasus doesn't make enough difference right now to fit. So I'll play out the land and I'll play the Archway Angel. It's a nice blocker for the Chillbringer. I think I forgot to tap the Guild Mage and gain 2 last turn. Okay, I'll put a stop here so I won't forget. Opponent again, not having any real attacks. If opponent -1s here, I might give back Eyes Everywhere and -1s again just to get rid of the Dovin. Not sure though. I mean, opponent is clearly going for the pattern where opponent just attacks with a lot of stuff to get Dovin back to some loyalty. I think I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, so let's gain 2. Oh, I shouldn't have played out the land, right? I should have looted that away. That is my bad probably. Because I do want to play out the tap lands. I'll take this because I want to scry 2 and I also like having the blocker. Not really in need of a blocker though, but so I don't think I definitely want the Gilgit over the island, but I don't want any of those cards right now. So I'll bottom both. I could attack with the Angel. Could attack the Grand Arbiter with both of my flyers. Maybe, let me see. Opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 power in the air next to the Chillbringer. So opponent would be able to kill one of the 2, but not both, right? So basically it's trade a couple of small flyers for one of the 2, and then the other one needs to be chumped. And I also have the Pegasus still. I think I go with the 3 flyers. I have full control, so I should be able to do this 4 blocks. And I'll exile that one. So now opponent has to spread the flyers pretty thin. And might lose all the Topters and the Duelists. If opponent wants to kill the Swings of New Prof, 3 of the blockers have to go here, 1 here, 1 here. Probably the Duelist is going here. That way the Duelist survives. And then jump the Angel. Okay, we're taking all this damage on Dovin. So we're basically saying, sure, I value my Topters very highly. I'm totally fine with that assessment by opponent. So I found the moment in the game where opponent gave me Eyes Everywhere was very interesting. I also find this very interesting. I wouldn't probably have valued my Topters that high, and also killing the Swings of New Prof is pretty valuable. I basically offered my swings for 3 Topters, and I think that was a trade that opponent should have taken. Okay, so we got an Eyes Everywhere trigger again. Azorius Guildgate, no thank you. Great card, right? It saved me so much float, basically. You see what's on the bottom here. So I'm assuming opponent has a Clear the Mind, but I'm not sure. My mill a card, sure. So question is, do I offer up the Swings of New Prof right now? Could attack with the Swings and the Angel again. See how opponent reacts. I just don't think this is a game where I'm winning through damage. I think this is a game where I'm winning through clear the minding my cards back into my deck. I'm just assuming opponent has no clear the mind, basically. And I think I want to do something fancy where I get my Gate Colossus back to my hand. Okay, we're milling again. I have to be careful with that when the clear the mind comes around. Ooh, that's a freaking great mill for opponent. Okay. That's at least... one less for each gauge you control. I gain 2, so it's still 2, so I'll... Yeah, that was a sweet mill. No doubt about it. I'll draw another card. The persistent petitioner is definitely going to make this a close game, but I think the clear the mind will sort of end that. Sure. Opponent basically has no blockers for the Gate Colossus, so if I'm able to resolve that and an opponent does not have an answer, then that's just 8 damage a turn. That's 2 petitioners, so we're definitely getting in the danger zone here. Scrying again, keeping this on top. Opponent is most likely going to tap the petitioner to mill my draw spell. I'll draw Gate. Oh, which is fine. Play the Gate Colossus. So now my clear the mind is cards away. Yeah, so what I need now is I need to be I need to do this correctly, basically, because I need to clear the mind to win this game, right? That is pretty obvious. An opponent is trying to mill me out. That's basically opponent's game plan here. So I'm going to scry. I'm going to put this on the bottom. Then I'm hoping that opponent taps both persistent petitioners. There goes 1. There goes 2. I know this is a land. Yeah, opponent does not know this. So that makes me draw my clear the mind. So we're basically in the clear now, right? Yes, okay. I'm going to attack with the Gate Colossus. Because I just want my opponent dead, basically, right? So I'm probably attacking with the Panthers as well. So I'll attack with the Colossus. I'll attack with the Angel. I'll attack with the Panthers. 4 attackers. Let's see. Opponent probably has something. Yep. Just killing that. Dealing some damage there. And turn. So that's 2 more turns, I think, where I can hold the clear the mind. Not sure though. I have to be careful, but I want to get as much value out of it. When it enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-token creatures you control. +2/+2 for each card exiled with it. Oh wow. So opponent can exile 3. And this thing is huge. Let's see what opponent does. I was opponent, I would probably exile all 3 of those. 2, 3. Doing 2, so that now blocks the Gate Colossus very nicely. I'll leave the pony on top. And I'll let my opponent decide. So we're milling that. Giving me the guild gate, or are we milling that as well? What are we doing here, opponent? This is quite a problem. 8-9, right? At least I know for sure that there's nothing in my deck that's going to fix that. I can, however, just attack with the flyers. I'll definitely do that. Did I forget to gain 2 again at some point? Opponent. Sure what opponent is doing here. Opponent has 16 cards left in the deck still. Oh, weed. Can of course take control of the lumbering battlements and attack opponent for 8. Oh, opponent might want to hold the petitioner as a blocker or something, but opponent is playing very slowly. Sure, what's up here? This is quite the slow play, actually. Okay. Play out the land. There's no reason not to. 4 cards left. Let's go to attackers. Yeah, so I attack with the flyers again. I'm thinking of maybe attacking with the Twilight Panthers as well. See what opponent makes of this attack. Basically, opponent should just trade 3 of the flyers for the 4-3 vigilance. Ooh, are we though? I was like, wow, that's an interesting block. Okay, looks like we are. Okay, let's give it that touch. Okay, so wow, it even comes back to my side of the battlefield. Not sure if opponent was was anticipating that. So no clear the mind now. This is mill, and then I draw my card, and I have to clear the mind after that, right? Nope. And it's a battlefield. Oh wow. No way. Top deck. Yeah, that's GG. There's nothing I can do about this. Like, if this was any other card, I would have cleared the mine next turn. Maybe I should have played around Wall of Lost Thoughts. I'm not sure. Like, I'm winning this game big time. Maybe I should have played around it. Yeah, it was wow. Okay. Yeah, that's so not only did this game like cost me my complete afternoon almost. Okay, I'll scry one, sure. Well, what an ending to a game. I think it was a strange game. I think opponent um yeah, did some things that I didn't expect, like giving up on the Dovin was strange. Did I lose 2 games with this deck already? It's good that I'm making a YouTube video out of it because... Oh yeah, and then I boarded in the Exposed to Daylight. Yeah, that was against the other Azorius deck. So did I play 2 Azorius opponents now? Wow, that's interesting. Let's get some wins. I mean, I don't mind publishing a 0-3 Azorius draft on YouTube, but don't think it would be the best thumbnail, right? Like, how to go 0-3 with Azorius in RNA Premier Draft. Probably not getting the most likes. Game has the deck has been underperforming immensely, and now the game has a hard time like finding people for me to play against. There we go. Game found a bronze opponent for me to try my Azorius deck against. Game is less enthusiastic about my deck as I am. Hand is not great. First actual plays on turn 4, but given the fact that I have Judgment and Admonition in hand, I'm not really afraid of dying anytime soon. And also Senate Griffin with the Scry is a nice bridge towards my my Skyguard. And I feel that resolving a Skyguard, the sooner that you do that, the better. No real reason for me to play an untapped land here, so I'll play another tap land. 2 gates on board, 2 black sources. I've seen games where I had less of those. I think here it is valuable to play the untapped land, because if opponent resolves a 3-drop, I can then bounce tap, but at the same time, that doesn't gets me to draw a card. So I think I'll just play the tap land and just have opponents. Okay, so that's a growth spiral, another land, maybe a 4-drop next turn. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. No, no 4-drop. Oh, it's probably the counter. Wow, is there a world where I play around the 3-2 here? So this set has the 3-2 green green blue blue and enters the battlefield counter a spell, and I think I'm going to play around that here. I think I'm not trying to resolve my Sand Griffin. Not going to give my my opponent that value. Okay, so opponent again refusing to play something, which is fine. I'm not going to play into that. I have a fine late game deck. I don't mind not playing anything for the first 5 turns. This must be the most exciting YouTube video. So first of all, it's like, if I'm going to upload it, it'll be the second video I upload on my channel. Okay, so now I'm not going to play the Skyguard, but I am going to play this Savant. And if my opponent decides to counter that, I'm totally happy about that. Okay, opponent decides to not counter that, which is interesting. Because now I have a 2-1 on the board. If my opponent is... If my opponent did not have that counterspell, I would be amazed. I would be shocked. Okay, opponent ramping. Might ramp into something like a Hydroid Crazes or something. Definitely going to play Skyguard here. Let's see if opponent has a counterspell. Now at least it's not the 3-2 that counters something. Okay, Savant doesn't really have good attacks. Opponent is just going to block that with the Caretaker. But I think having the Skyguard on the board, being a 3-3 first striker is great. And we'll go from here. Opponent has a lot of mana actually. There's a Zagana, it's a 3-4. Opponent not drawing a card because of the lack of +1/+1s. I think I'm going to have opponent invest 6 mana in this. And then bounce it. Yeah, I think that is worth. If I play this, that leaves me 3 mana for Admonition. There's the Frill Mystic. Okay, so it was in hand, and it is countering my 4-drop, which is totally fine. I think I'll let this resolve. Yeah. So now the question becomes, do I play Pegasus or do I Summary Judgment the Engineer? Not sure. Something that I am sure about is probably that I'm attacking with the Skyguard. Although having a 3-3 blocker is not bad, but I think having a 2-1 blocker against the Mystic is fine as well. Well, attack with the Skyguard, I'll deal 3. And like if opponent wants to +4/+4 this, I can bounce it in my main after that and draw a card. 4, so this is my 5th, so there are only 2 more gates after this. I think it becomes valuable to keep up my gate now. In case I do draw my giant, that I at least am able to get it back from the graveyard if my opponent counters it or kills it somehow. Yeah, so I think there goes the Sagana buff. And then I'm just taking a lot of damage, and I'll be bouncing it back to hand next turn. Because my opponent is investing most of their turn in this buff, then dealing me 8, and then I'll hit back for 4 next turn. Yep. There's Sagana. Sagana going to deal me 7. Oh no. Should have not played the Pegasus. I would have punished my opponent so hard. Ugh. Okay. So unfortunate. So unfortunate. Wow. Much wow. In all honesty, this is going to be a tough game to win. I mean, I lost my Skyguard. Okay, there's at least a good card. And I'm going to pressure the opponent through the air with the Pegasus, but my opponent is just going to replay the Sagana. If I would have bounced the Sagana down in response to the Titanic Brawl, that would have been devastating for opponents. I would have kept my Skyguard. Would have bounced the Sagana. Anyway, I was just... oh, wow. Pum, 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 pum. No reach, right? No. Four plus 3 is not 8. This is a rough game. This is such a rough game. I was like, can the creature adapt again? But now I see that you can adapt again, but you can't put the counters on it again. Okay. I was of the understanding that opponent wasn't able to adapt again. But apparently you are able to adapt again, but you're just simply not putting counters on it. Yeah. This creature has no on it, put 4 on it. You can still use the ability. Yeah, I'm taking 8 here. I don't see any way of preventing that. Of course, I hope opponent is going to some sort of spell on the Mystic, but we are not. I'm dying over here. Task demise is useless. Yeah, so this deals 5. Did I lost? I didn't lose yet 4 or 5, so this in combination with the judgment kills it. I think I'll just leave my mana up. I can attack with the swings. It has vigilance. I'll put my opponent down to 7. And basically, I have a way to kill the speaker, but it involves sacrificing both of my creatures. Okay, the mice is a nice answer to this if opponent decides to buff that up. Opponent is doing that, so I'll quickly kill it in response. Because it have been devastating in itself. Yeah, so opponent, I think that's going to happen. So good thing here is that opponent only has 2 mana left in the form of the Gyre Engineer. Oh, right, and 1 mana of the Caretaker. So that's 3 mana actually, so quite a lot of ways opponent can punish me here. Your main phase, so I'm going to double block this. Simply no other way. That way dealing 5, taking 2. Now I hope to get priority to at least kill the Sagana. And now I need to top deck something. Colossus is definitely a top deck. So not only does it block the Engineer, it's also a way for me to actually lethal the opponent next turn. So if opponent has nothing here, this is just lethal. Playing the land there was a big mistake. Okay, sure. So opponent does not die. Yeah, playing the land there was a mistake. Okay. That at least is able to block it, but it's still a 6/6, so opponent is basically jumping then. Opponent has to attack with the 1/1 here. Yeah, so opponent putting me down to 1. Opponent gives me another draw. Okay, so I'm attacking here and then I'm sky tethering the 1/1 basically. Another root snare. Heyo! Yes, I'm not even sure if I can pay for all of this, but I have to kill my own Colossus. I think I'll keep the Panther. Sure. Play a gate. Oh, on top of your library. Okay, I thought it was going back to hand. It's going to the library. So, pretty sure I lost this game. 0-3. Okay, YouTube. Um, that wasn't the best draft I've done. I think it was actually one of the worst results I had in a while. It's been a while since I 0-3'd. The deck wasn't great. I definitely didn't see it as 0-3 material. I mean, I had my 2-drop slot and my 1-drop slot were sweet, so I had some early creatures on the board to prevent a lot of damage. I think my top end was great. Form of Skyguard, Angel, Colossus, Swings, and Griffin is just a fine card, so definitely some ways to finish the game. And I think spell-wise, I had a really sweet set of spells, but yeah, it just didn't work, I guess. Very close losses. Like, so my second loss, basically I lost due to the wall top deck that milled me for 4, because I would have survived another turn and then could have put the cards back from the graveyard in the deck. So that was an interesting loss, and it was also a strange loss, right, where I basically lost. If I had like 1 life more, I would have been able to probably stay alive, replay the Colossus, and maybe win that way. The Colossus there not going to hand, but on top of library, actually something that I'm not going to forget anytime soon. But yeah, stuff like this happens, right?